Hi! Do you wonder how you can color your images in a simple way? Then this tutorial is for you, so stay tuned for this full start to finish tutorial on coloring my London Tilda that I made for my twisted easel card. There will be popping up some cards for the tutorial for my twisted easel cards at the end of this video. So if you want to watch that, you can click on that link. I started coloring the edges first, and I used my Ranger Distress ink in old paper, and I also stamped some stamps around them. I started with some crown stamps because the background paper that I used had really faintly some crowns on there, and I also used a postal stamp. So for coloring my Tilda, I'm using a variety of different alcohol-based markers. I have some really cheap ones. I also have Spectrum Noir markers. I'm getting my flash colors out, and I basically always use 3 colors for my skin tone. I use FS2 and FS3 and PP1. FS2 and FS3 are flesh tones, really light. I start with the FS2 mostly, making a border around my around the head, and then go over it with the FS3. Sometimes I forget the first step, but it helps me to blend the colors a bit more. When I put on the darkest color, then I go over it, over the whole face with my lighter color. So after I put on the FS3, I go over all the skin with the FS2 to blend my FS3 into the FS2. And that's what I do. I mainly look where do I want my shadows to be, and that's where that's the side that I make darker. So then I'm choosing my colors for the clothing, and I take my card and I choose the color mint green, because that's also in my papers for the card. And I choose 3 colors, a light one, a middle one and a darker one. You could do it with 2, and I have a tutorial on just doing it with 2 colors as well. First, I start again with my darkest color, which is not even that dark. It's my Spectrum Noir marker, and the color is BT4, and that's where I do my shadows with. And basically what I always do is check where do I want to have the light coming from, and the side that the light will be coming from, that's the lightest side. So the opposite side I make the darkest. So I just trace around the part that I want to color with my darkest color. And you can make it darker, even darker, by going over it multiple times over the same spot with your marker. It gives a darker color than when you do it once. So you see me going over the same spots multiple times, and that's just to give more color on that spot. So I'm finding out where it should be the darkest, because there will be shadows there, and I go over that, and then I blend it with a lighter color, and I go over it again with my darkest color, and I blend it in some more. And you just keep going till you are satisfied with what you have. So for this project I used the BT4, but I also have some cheaper markers from another brand that are in the same color scheme. One of them is called Pistachio, and the other one is called Pale Mint. So those are the colors, and they are by Hobby Color. I think it's even a Dutch brand. And if you start light, you can always make it darker. Making it lighter is difficult, but making it darker is, you just go over it again. The paper that I'm using is just regular copy paper. With the alcohol-based markers, the trick is that you have to saturate your paper completely, so it will bleed through on the back. That's also why I have another piece of paper underneath my image, so it will be completely wet, and that's because otherwise you cannot blend the colors into each other. So you need to have your paper completely wet and saturated, and I find if I choose a paper that is thicker, it takes longer to saturate my paper so I can blend it, and it's really a personal preference. I started trying it out on just copy paper and it worked fine for me, and then I started to do it on thicker paper and it didn't work out, so I stuck with the copy paper. But that's just the way I do it. So you just have to try and keep trying. Find what works the best for you. So this is my way. It's not the only way. So I'm starting coloring her hair, and for her hair I used EB1, EB2, and I think it's CT1, and they're all Spectrum Noir markers. And hair is something that I still find pretty difficult to do. But again, you just need to figure out where will be the darkest colors in her hair and where will be the lightest colors. So basically, if I want to have some area really light, I only try to go over it once, maybe twice if I have to mix in two colors, but as little as possible so you can get the lightest effect. I always feel you cannot really mess things up. And if you do, you start over. It's only a stamp, right? You can do it again. And it did happen to me once that I started with a blonde and ended up with a dark brown image. So, like I said, you can always go darker on things. So I hope you have fun coloring and just keep trying. It's just practicing. And I'm not really that good at it. I just show you how I do it, and there are probably different ways to do it, but this is my way and it works out for me. I just want to encourage you to go and try it yourself and see what happens. Have fun, you guys, and have a great day. And I hope to see you back with my next video. Bye bye everybody, have a wonderful day.